Kim, I think I laid some of it out there. I'm sure you see it slightly differently. What is on the line with these elections?
Thank you so much for having me on, Alicia, and for lifting up these races. You know, they have historically flown under the radar, but exactly as you said, they are like, these races are some of the most critical on the ballot this fall. So many of our fundamental freedoms will be decided in the states this year. And secretaries of state are foundational to preserving our democracy. And without that access to the ballot, every other hard fought right is at risk. You know, we have secretaries who were on the front lines in 2020 who, despite a pandemic, despite misinformation, despite personal threats against them, stood up and ensured that every eligible American had access to the ballot and that those votes were counted.
Here's the thing, I want to hear both about what you were doing proactively, but to the point that Barbara McQuade made in her piece for the New York Times, I also want to understand what it is you were up against, funding-wise, support-wise, organizationally from the right. How much of their weight are they throwing behind these fights?
Well, I mean, I think you mentioned it yourself. The former president has endorsed in these races in Arizona, in Georgia, in Michigan, in Ohio. They are throwing their weight behind it. That is something he didn't even do when he was in office as president, because he wants to change the outcome of past and future elections. And these are the folks who are running, who are willing to do it. So we are seeing grassroots dollars, we are seeing big money go into these races, and we are seeing some of the most extreme candidates across the country decide to step up and run to oversee elections. The folks who are running to oversee elections on the Republican side, these include people who not only are endorsed by Trump, they're being investigated by the January 6th Commission. These are folks who have spoken at QAnon conferences, continuing to spread lies about our elections. There is even a candidate in Colorado who has been indicted on more than 10 counts related to election tampering. These are the folks who want to run to oversee our elections.
Yeah, you know, and I think we're living in a moment, Kim, where ordinarily you would sort of read out that dossier and it would be a slam dunk, but we're living in a moment where that might actually excite some members of the GOP base. And so we sort of painted the big picture. I want to drill down specifically on Mastriano, nominee for Pennsylvania governor. The Guardian writes, Mastriano is one of the most radical gubernatorial candidates ever to receive a major party nomination. After all of Trump's legal challenges had failed and the Pennsylvania Secretary of State had formally certified Biden the winner, Mastriano introduced a resolution urging Congress to ignore the results. His plan was for the Pennsylvania legislature to ignore millions of votes and directly appoint electors pledged to Trump. What can someone like Mastriano do? How can he change the contours of our democracy if he wins?
Well, I'll be frank, Alicia. He actually, as governor of Pennsylvania, gets to appoint the Secretary of State. He has already said that he wants someone who could, quote, reset the voter rolls, forcing everyone to re-register. But also, he's already claiming he could decertify every machine in the state with a stroke of a pen. This is incredibly dangerous, and frankly, not the first we've seen. Greg Abbott in Texas has, removed an administrator and appointed a big lie Trump attorney to the post. In Florida, similarly, we saw DeSantis push out an election administrator in favor of a Trump acolyte. These folks are incredibly dangerous. And where they're running, these are folks who are intimately tied to the insurrection and to undermining elections. Just on Friday, we had news come out that Ginni Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, reached out to a state legislature in Arizona to run legislation to allow the state legislature to overturn the slate of electors.